Hello, today I'm going to be showing you how I made this cute cardboard gingerbread village. We're going to start by either drawing out or printing out some templates. Here are a couple that I drew based on a few I found online. And when you're cutting these out, be sure to not mix up your different houses. So I have an A-frame house and a cabin, and you can see here I grouped them with each other. That way, when I was making my trace out pieces, I didn't mix up the different sizes. And then you're just going to want to trace out your template pieces onto cardboard. So I ended up with my cardboard shapes being able to fit an entire house onto each piece of cardboard, which helped keep each piece organized. So my A-frame pieces all fit together, and my two cabins both fit onto their own piece of cardboard. So that was a way I was able to keep them organized. And then here are my final trace out pieces. So each house has its own piece of cardboard. And then this part is going to be more difficult than you think. And you can see my struggles. So I'm trying to cut out the cardboard with scissors. Didn't work super well. Switched scissors. Ended up getting an X-Acto blade to try and cut them out. That also took forever. Probably would have ended up the cleanest, but it took so long that I didn't want to do it anymore. So here I switched back to scissors. And at this point I decided that instead of just leaving the cardboard bare and then worrying about how my cuts were going to look, I decided later to cover each of the pieces with brown paper to hide the cardboard's ugly cutting and then being able to still use them. So here is my first cabin, here is my second cabin, and then here is my A-frame all cut out. So here you can see me taking out the brown painter's paper, at least I think that's what it's called, and then gluing down each of my house pieces so that I can cut around them to wrap around brown paper on top of them. It's going to make sense here in a second, so I'm cutting an edge of paper around the cardboard pieces. That way I can wrap around the brown paper. And so now I have a beautiful fake gingerbread without having to worry about how my cuts were looking, because the edge of the paper is going to cover that up. And it still gives that gingerbread look because the paper is brown. So here I am covering those edges with the hot glue gun. It worked out really well. I highly recommend doing this because then you can recycle some paper, you can recycle some cardboard, and you don't have to throw them away at the end of Christmas. Now, the entire reason I started doing this, the decorating part. So I used some white puffy paint as my fake frosting. I thought it worked out pretty well and pretty cute. Don't do shingles like this on this house because it doesn't fit. You'll see that later. But this is the fun part, so just enjoy the decorating. And while the puffy paint was still wet, I added white glitter to both the roof pieces and the side pieces. I just only recorded me doing the roof. So I'm going to walk you through how I assembled the A-frame house, which you're going to do the same technique for assembling the cabins as well. So I glued the side pieces to the back or the front piece of the house. It doesn't matter since they're the same. And then once the two sides are dry, you can add the back piece, and then you can glue the roof pieces on top of that. So the best part about using hot glue is that if you make a mistake, you can just peel it off and it's not really going to damage your paper. It says I used a low temperature hot glue gun, which they kind of suck, but for something like this, it works out pretty well. But either way, you're going to follow that same technique for assembling the rest of your homes. So here you can see me doing the two side pieces to the front, then adding the back, waiting for that to dry, and then you can put the roof on. So here you can see what I was talking about with the shingles on this house I'm assembling right now. I did them sideways. Doesn't matter. It turned out cute either way. So here you can see all three of my adorable little houses, even with the messed up shingles. And then I followed a DIY mommy, I think was her name, inspiration for this centerpiece idea. So honestly, you can use these little houses for anything. I just chose a centerpiece. So here's like an overview of my adorable little houses. I used a piece of felt as the snow, which looks kind of janky, but you know what? This whole thing's a little janky because I used a plate instead of a tray in the middle. And then I have a couple bottle brush trees in the middle, which I thought were super cute. They really go with my little village. And then these candlesticks that I found on Amazon, which I'm in love with. I think it looks so good, even if the snow is a little janky. But this was a super easy DIY. I finished it like in one evening, and even with some of the mistakes I made, it still looks great. So I highly recommend this project if you're looking for a cute little gingerbread themed Christmas idea. Thank you for watching.